just to say, I'm not sure I understood the contribution, and I don't really want to get involved in a back and forth. But the House of Assembly Elections Act 2023, the draft that Sir Dennis submitted to support his report, provides for a number of offences. One of those offences is a prohibition on selling intoxicating liquor on the day of election within a certain proximity to the polls. So it is in here. It exists already, but as I've said on previous occasions, to a large extent, the proposal repeats much of what we already have. The other area that was mentioned, which is the distance from the polling station, Sir Dennis addressed that as well. And it actually provides that persons cannot congregate within 100 yards of the polling station. Again, we already have provision for that. So I think what we have to do is, some of these things will not necessarily be in the report, but you will find a lot of them in the actual draft legislation. So I just make that point.
Thank you very much, AG, for that clarification that some of these areas have already been addressed, are in the current law and have been addressed in the proposed legislation. So a recommendation, just to repeat what AG has said, in reviewing, we review the report and we also try to review the draft legislation. Did we have another hand up? Okay, there's a young lady to the back.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, good night. Good night, everybody. I want to make special recognition of my Honorable Pal Rep, Honorable Octavia Alfred, and our acting Cassan Linaville, Honorable Cassan Linaville, acting for the Prime Minister, and by extension, the other ministers of government and the invited guests, and my brothers and sisters. My name is Roy George, by the way, and I live in Castle Bruce, and I've been living here for 27 years, and I am a community motivator, and I am also a person who, thank you. I am also a person who believes in developmental politics. So what I am saying, when I was a child going to the convent, I used to hear reform, electoral reform, but I never really understood what it meant. So I happen to be around certain persons. Like reform I'm listening to on the radio, I am hearing certain things that making you believe that there is restriction for you to vote. You get the feeling that if you cannot do this, or if you don't have this, or if you are not in a certain way, or if you don't have a certain level of intelligence, you cannot vote. So I am asking the electoral office and whoever organizing everything that we would hope that you all make it as easy as possible, that everybody get a fair chance to vote. Thank you very much. So let us talk about the voter ID card. Nothing wrong in having an identity, but for God's sake, we can start the process of having an identification card. We can start it in the hospital when a baby is born, and then come down the line. But then we do not have to discriminate somebody or prevent them from voting if they do not have a card an identification card, I say, on the day of election, because I am making a special advocate for our elderly. I happened to be sitting listening to one of our forums one of those evenings, and there was an 84-year-old man with me listening to the radio, and he only heard $50. And he said, "Sameka Tanla, unibu pay $50 per vote, makai vote ako." And I was saddened by that, because he is not realizing what is happening, but the person went on to explain about the $50. I cannot remember exactly everything. So I am saying to the Electoral Commission, whenever they're discussing or doing whatever they're doing, try to speak on the radio in a way that the elderly don't feel that they have to pay some money or money is involved, because the elderly listen to the radio. Another thing, I want to know who is looking after the elderly. Because according to the law, when somebody is 70 years, for example, if they have to sign a document, you must go to a lawyer. Now, elderly have been voting all the time because they know who they want to vote for, they're supporting their party. So, what measures we are going to have in place to protect the elderly and ensure that they vote for who they want? Because there are some elderlies in this country, they are very happy with what the Prime Minister is doing for them. They are happy that they are getting the 65 and over now. They are happy that they are getting certain assistance. But on the day of voting, because their family are not in sync with where they want to vote, they are punished. And their family vote for them and they vote to the wrong party or the wrong place. So what measure is being put in place in terms of talking about electoral reform that we can ensure that our elderly vote, their vote goes to who they want. Their vote goes to the Prime Minister or their vote goes to the parliamentary representative. This is what is very important because we have an aging population and we have to find a way to put measures in place to help them. For example, I do not know if the Electoral Commission is finding a way to harmonize or putting some measures in place to partner with the adult education. We know there's an adult education department and so on, but I am not sure if there is something in place to help the elderly. There are some elderly who can still read and write. I am saying with the electoral reform, I am requesting that something be put in place that the elderly can get a better feel of what the election reform is all about because they love their politics, they love their party, they love their Prime Minister, and they love the development of Dominica, they love the roads, they're glad to know the airport is coming. They love everything. They love to know that they haven't got to give their child money to do things for school because they know that the government is helping the school children and all those things, and the list goes on. So I am making a special case for our elderly to ensure that the measures are put in place to take care of them. And even if they have to have a card, when those who do not have a card, the election process should be such that if somebody doesn't have a card and they can be identified by a person can identify them, they should be allowed to vote until we have the 100% of card representation. Another thing, I am saying that in the electoral reform, we hear too many restrictions. You must have this, you must have that, too many restrictions. And we are not hearing enough of people interested in voting and know what they're voting for a government that can develop the country, voting for a government that they can move from stage 1 to stage 2, voting for a government like before in the days of E.O. Libla, you know that you voted for Libla because he was going to make the coastal road and Dominica was going to open and no longer you have to pass in the transinsular road and so on. Right now, there's a lot of development taking place. And the people want to feel free that they can come and vote without too many restrictions. Because the elderly are not, technology trained like some of us. Our country is still going through a phase. So I find, in my opinion, the electoral reform, a lot of the aspects of it, it is too tough and it is too much towards the educated people, the educated population, and some of the young people, and the intelligent ones. I don't find it is grassroots enough. We have to think of our grassroots people. These are the people who laid the foundation. Reform was always a word since in the days of my Alfrey and so on. But the way it is now in that book, too many red tape, too many things you have to have. And then too many do's and don'ts. For example, if somebody wants to stay overseas and send some money to a group, for example, a group in a village, because they want that group to have they want that group to vote in a way that they can get certain desired development. Why would you have to send a receipt or send this or send that? You know, these things are trivial. We have to get out of the box. Take an example of what's happening in America today. Look at what's happening. We cannot afford to have ourselves following that trend. Let us open up enough. Let us try to come down a little more to the level. And that business about fingerprinting and all those things. I mean, we are not taking people for a ride to the moon. Stop letting people feel that if they don't have that electronic feel of things, that they cannot. You see the word cannot? That business of cannot vote, we have to throw that at our back. So in my opinion, that whole book needs to be redone, and I do not know if we'll get another sir. I'm sorry to say that. But we have to consider all those factors. So we have to get another sir, somebody to do another. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Royet. I really just wanted to highlight a point that Royet made in terms of education, and it is going to be very important, whatever changes are made, if any changes are made, that we educate the masses, and I thank you for your focus on the elderly. We also have to look at how changes to our laws will impact various vulnerable groups in our society. So thank you very much for that. Yes, the gentleman in front in the black shirt. Would you like to come up front? Or you?
All right, good evening. Protocol has been established. Huh? Let's speak up. Yes, I'm Mason Gustav from Petit Soufriere, and I'm quite young, but let's say in the 90s, if election from in the 90s to at least 2005 was never in those kind of controversy. 2005 to 2000, they won. It was no controversy. Why beyond we have controversy? And I hear people spoke about bribery. I don't know if people can take this, reverse the thinking and think of 2000 when we had Sunrise 2000. And yes, it was a big thing. That is before a general election, before they announced the date of election. Because the thing is we have to be realistic. Because honestly, there were umbrellas, there were banners, there were all different kind of things. I can recall, I was very young. I'm a child of the 80s. And they invite the late Honorable Rosie Douglas to that Sunrise 2000. He said if it was in a church, he would have attended. But just because they're going to worship the sun, he said he's not leaving his home for him to go and attend. They had all sorts of promotion, all different nonsense. And, you know, all bribery, they give people all kind of different things. What about the company that they closed down with LPO? Nobody's saying that it's bribery before an election. So I don't know why is it we have to look at bribery all of a sudden in the picture. You understand? There was a lot of things that happened beyond now. We wasn't seeing it as bribery. But right now, the Prime Minister is helping his people out of certain situations they are in. You know, take people out from pit toilet to have a washing facility. So that's bribery. I don't class that to be bribery. That is just lifting people's standard. And you understand, when you see people speak negative about things that is in a developing world, your mindset is not all about the people. You understand? I personally believe when you do good things for your people and you do things for your country, the people reward you with a vote. And they choose you because of you give them representation, and I see no fault in that, and that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Do we have any other speakers? Well, this is a record for us. This is the earliest night we are ending, but I do want to if we have no other comments, let me thank you for your contributions. We are very pleased to have been here in the village of Cassibruce this evening. Thank you for hosting us. I want to thank you for your feedback, your opinions, and your comments. You have been very passionate, very expressive about how you feel about electoral reform and some of the changes that have been proposed. And we really appreciate your honest feedback. Tomorrow night, we are moving to Wesley at the Northeast Comprehensive School from 6 p.m. This is for the benefit of those who are listening to us on the live stream. And next week, we have revised our schedule. So on Monday, we are going to be at the Parish Hall, like we have previously announced. But we have a slight change for the rest of the week. We will now be going to Marigot on Tuesday at the Will Strathmore Primary School from 6 p.m. And on Wednesday, we'll be in Salibier at the Kalinago Territory. So again, for the benefit of those of you who are listening, we have revised our schedule. And next week, tomorrow night, we are going to Wesley at the Northeast Comprehensive School. And on Monday, we will be at the Parish Hall. So that will be for all of those from the Roseau area, the West Coast, and the South. On Tuesday, we will be in Marigot at the Will Strathmore Primary School, and on Wednesday in the Kalinago Territory. Now I know, and it is it's very good to see and to hear that people are interested in being part of this conversation. So we are getting a number of requests. Everybody wants us to come to their village, to their community. It's a good thing. It means that we are very engaged. The Parab here said we should go to Grand Bay. A number of people would like us to come to the area. But we do understand that it's not feasible to be everywhere. But wherever we go, if you are able to attend, please make your voices heard. Those of you who are following via the live stream, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, you can also share your comments. We are also capturing all of these comments. You would see with us, we have Miss Anadaya, our stenographer, or transcriber, and of course we have the media recording and transcribing everything that is being said here today. So we do want you to understand that your views are being captured. They will be captured and be part of a report that we will have at the end of this consultation, which of course we will share with you. So again, thank you very much to everyone here. We know it's been a bit warm, but we do appreciate your hospitality. Probably that's why it's so warm. Honorable Alfred, thank you very much for hosting us. And those of you in Castle Bruce who assisted with getting the room set up and all the arrangements for this evening, we appreciate you. Thank you very much to the AG for the presentation and the ministers who are with us this evening, our observers who are with us every evening, and the rest of the team working behind the scenes. To those of you listening via our live stream, thank you for joining us this evening. Have a pleasant evening and get home safely to everyone.